In this tutorial, we'll create the notifications. This part in here. So every time that the total stock reaches to the limit stock, we want to create the notification. So how can we do that? First of all, we need to create the corresponding database table. So every time that the total stock reaches to the limit stock, we can add a new record to that table. So then we can display that records in here. So let's create first our notification table. Notification table, where basically it will contain type of notification, it will contain the message itself, and it will contain a status if the message if it was seen or not. So basically the type will be, by default, will be 0, will be a tiny int. So we can make it a tiny int. The message, it is a varchar. The message, it's a varchar. It is a string, a text. And the status will be a boolean. Okay, so message, it is correct. Type, it is correct. Additionally, you want to set some default values. So the status will be 0 by default, which is not seen, and the type will be also 0 by default. Okay. So next what we want to do is to go to our template, because the template is shared across all these pages. So we want to go to our template and add the list of notifications here. So let's go to our template, which is this one here, authenticated, and this is the notification pop-up, if I'm not mistaken. Let's confirm. So drop down, so this title, notifications drop down is this one. Okay. And this is the well, and this is the li. So we want to drop our database inside of the parent of this well here. So we need to search our notification table, which is here, and we just drag and drop it here. Where in here we want to show a list based in a tree, which will be a view. Correct. And it's done. Additionally, we can remove the search, we can remove the short actions, we can remove the pagination. We just want to show this without any extra buttons or any extra things. So if we save this, and if we refresh, currently we don't have any records, so let's just add some records. So we can just go back to the basic items, just to be easy. So I'll just manage some recs. I'll click here together with the control key pressed, so I can open a new tab, and in here I'll add some default records. The type will be 1, that will be 0. 0 corresponds when the limit stock, when the total stock reaches to the limit stock. Message, let's put some default message, doesn't matter, and the status will be 0, which was not seen yet. Okay, we add one, we can add another one. So basically just adding some default notifications, so then we can then show them here and see the notifications in here. Okay, currently we are saying that they are loaded, but there are some parts here that we don't want to see. So let's erase that part. So this is the notification ID, we don't want that, doesn't really matter. This is for the type, and the type, we want to leave the type, the message, the status, we don't want the status. We can leave the loading, the the no message bar, the empty notifications message. We can leave this, we can erase this part here, this label. We can erase this label also. And in here, this is for the status. We want, if the status is equal to 0, we want this to appear limit stock. Instead of appearing 0, we want to appear limit stock. And I want this to be appear in red, something like this. So if we currently refresh, we can see that it's showing differently. We see that we have here a little bit of margin. I believe this is because of some cards. So in here we need to set the margin equal to 0, the padding equal to 0, and the border equal to 0. And we do this for all the other ones. Let's see how does this appear now. How does this shows? Okay, now it's showing much better. So we want to remove this caption also. So it's this one. Okay, we can save. So we can remove this well, that can by default also. Okay, now it's much better. You can see that I still have here a little bit of space. Maybe we can remove this. So this is the margin button. Not sure if it is this one, but all of this list group. Maybe it could be this one. It's this one, empty. Okay. Basically, we just organize our CSS so this can be more beautiful. Okay, let's do some inspect to see why is this showing. So it's not from here. It's not from here. It's this one here. It's the card. So it's the card. This is the card body. We want to have the card. So it's this MB3. So we want to remove this. So if we refresh, now we have this correctly. Okay, perfect. Now what we want to do, maybe we can remove some spacing here also. So this is the spacing. It's because of this guy here. Wait. Okay, now it is much better. This is just an example. Okay, so what we want to do next, which is we just want to show the notifications which have the status equal to 0. So because if they already been seen, we don't want to show them anymore. So we need to find the correspondent element that contains the load resource define. This one. It's this one. In here, and in here we want to add a new condition saying that I just want to show this where the status is equal to 0. And we save. We refresh, so by default all of that are equal to 0, which is fine. And now we want to add in here, inside of this list item, we want to add a button to close this notification that will say, instead of being seen, let's put here a button to close this specific notification. So we just add here an item called close notification, something like this. Of course we could add a bare CSS, so instead of being close notification it could be an X icon in here, whatever. And then what we want to do is we want to set this specific link to edit the status attribute of this specific li, this specific item. So how can we do that? So first of all we go to the events here, and the on click we're gonna select list item, and we're gonna select attributes field, and what we want to do is update choose this event, update resource item attribute on click. So basically what this does is when we click in this attribute, it will get the name, the attribute name and the attribute value, and it will execute the update attribute resource of the form or of the list parent element. So what we want to do next is to define now in here, we want to define in, it could be in this UL, a resource, a new resource called update attributes, because this will be the resource that this link it will execute. And inside of this attribute, inside of this resource, we will create for the notification table, we'll create a new type of action called update record attribute, and we just to update, he creates automatically the resource here. So every time that I click here, it will update, it will execute this update resource as defined here, but it will pass the correspondent name and value of this link here. So this action, this event is for input fields, but we can use for any other elements. So what we need to do is, as an input, as a name and a value, we need to create that attributes in here also. So what we want to do here is to add two attributes, which will be, one will be the name of the attribute, which will be the status, and the other will be the value, which will be equal to 1. So basically every time that we click here, we will update the status equal to 1 of the correspondent item. So when we save this, if we refresh, we can see that now we have here our close icons, and when I click close, it closes this. And if I refresh this again, it should not. So let's see if it is executing this correctly or not. So let's do the inspect, let's go to the network, and when I click close notifications, it's not doing anything. Okay, so let's be sure. So that event was not saved. So now when we refresh the page, when we click here, is saying no update attribute resource. Okay, so this event here is searching for the update attribute resource inside of the parent, but is, as it says in this information, in the list of form widget, the parent widget. So which means that we need to trick the system and say this, that since we don't have any lists in here, we need to tell that this UL, well, as a matter of fact we do have, which will be, so what we needed to do is we add the resource attribute, the update resource attribute in this UL. We don't want to do this in here. What we want to do is the same element that contains the load resource, we want to add there. We want to add there the update resource attributes. So in here, so this is the type list group, That's where you're gonna search for the update attribute resource, and in here I do refresh, and in here I choose that specific resource that I had created before, the update notification attribute, and I save. And if I refresh this now, when I click close notification, it's sending already the update notification attribute, and then it is refreshing. It's refreshing the count products, but it's not refreshing this list here. So what we want to do additionally is, when we click here, we want to remove this item here. So what we can do is, in here, is in this element here, on update resource, on remove resource item. I think I can add here on complete. Oh, it's just easier maybe to do just a reload. Let me see, instead of removing, I can simply load this. So currently only shows one, but as soon as I click here, okay, perfect, it refreshes. So instead of creating that JavaScript function, I can do simply this. It's easier. So I can simply erase this. Okay, it's much better. Okay, so as we can see in our database, in the notifications, the status is equal to 1. So if I go here, if I change the status to 0 again, okay, when I refresh this, I have my 2 notifications. When I click here, I can see that it closed an update and I only have 1. Okay, now let's add, instead of having close notification, let's put an X button in here. So let me just refresh this, so then we can try this again, so we can test this again. Okay, so close notifications, I can simply check one of this. I can check the CSS for this X here, and what I want is to call button close. Let's see if this works. If I had a class called button close, okay, perfect. And I can simply wait. So that's a button. So maybe I can change this to a button instead of a link. Let's change this to a button so we can replicate that. Okay. Okay, so since I cannot delete this last character, so it doesn't really matter if it is a link or if it is a button. So I need to go here to the source and I can simply remove it, this element here. So I could leave it as this as a link, which is still fine. As a link. But it looks like it's better if it is a button, so let's leave it as a button, which is better. Okay. And now these, let's sort these, let's put these as a float. see if this works fine. Okay, so I have the axis here. When I click here, it's working fine. Okay, perfect. These we still have here some spacing. Let's see it why. It's this div here. Row, it's after the row. Okay. Much better. Okay, so then if you, of course, that if you wanted, we could always add some CSS, some other CSS. Div row. Okay, here it is. Okay, now it's much better. Okay, so this is just an example, just to show you that the things work. So this is for the notifications. Now the only thing that we need is to create these notifications automatically when the total stock it reaches to the limit stock. So to do that, we go to our product service logic, and on the decrement total stock, every time that we call the decrement total stock, we need to do this comparison to see if there is a reason to create a new notification. So to do that, in here in the decrement total stock, when we decrement the corresponding total stock, what we need to do also is we need to get, well, let's first analyze what we have here in the diagram. So we are getting the product, the corresponding product data based on the product ID. So we already have that information in the product. So what we need to compare is simply the product data, the product total together. So the product, the total stock, to compare it together with the limit stock. So we do a if in here. So we want to compare the product stock if it is smaller or equal to the limit stock, okay, and if so, we want to create here a new task which will be called a new debug action in here, which will basically will be insert a new notification. So the type will be 0 because the type of limit stock. The message will be saying attention because your stock from products X is reaching the limit, or it reached the limit. And this one, it will be the product name. We need to create this variable also. The status we didn't see yet, so we can simply put it 0, and then here we can put some date. That doesn't really matter, but we can define a date. It should be, let's call here a variable date. Define the variable date. Sorry, it's in here. Sorry, this. As a matter of fact, we don't want this. We want to define a date. It's this one. So this is for the date, and this one is for the product name. Which here will be the products and then the name. Let's see the code. So basically, if the total stock is smaller or equal to the limit stock, we are setting two variables, the date and the product name, and then we are calling we are creating a new record in the notification table with the type 0, with the corresponding message, and with the status 0 and the corresponding created date. So currently we have these two notifications. We have 4 in here. So if we go to the products and if we sell some of these products, let's say that I sell, instead of 7, I'll sell it 9. Automatically when I go to products, I see that the total stock is less than the limit stock, so I should have here a new notification saying attention because your stock from product orange, it reached the limit. So here it is. So I can simply close these ones and I'll just have the limit stock. So as we can see here in our Excel, so we already did the notifications part. So basically we already did all of this. This is done. Let's put this in green. We did all these requirements already. We did these notifications. We did all of these already. Yeah, so it's only missing now the report.